What's going on, everybody? It's your boy ChEDDErTarY here. About almost 10 o'clock in the morning. God. I wanted to get up a bit early because I usually head out at 9. But I don't sleep good. I have zombie. I always had it many years since childhood. Sleeping disorder. I didn't knock out till almost 6 o'clock. I know I can set alarms on these phones, but nowadays these phones with the alarms on them, saying they don't work. Worth of shit. So they don't go off when you need them to, and they won't set when you need them to. It ain't like the straight talk phones when they first, came out like 12 years ago. But I don't have straight talk though anymore. They got shitty over time. My bone joints are stiff. I'm stiff. But this video, ain't about that. This is another gaming vlog video, and I'm here to talk to you guys, as you can see by the title. Batman Arkham City 10 years later. Now, I'm not sure if the game's been out for 10 years already. I believe it. Yeah, but I believe it has, or really super close to being about 10 years old. And I can say this: how well did the game age? And we are going to be talking about the 360 version of the game. So, I've been replaying the first 3 Arkham games for the 360. Now, since this is about Arkham City, I'm going to start off with Arkham Origins. So, Arkham Origins does have a bit of an identity problem. So no doubt about that. Arkham Origins story, after playing it for the second time in my life, it's okay. It's not the best well written, but it doesn't have any replay value, in my opinion. It doesn't have any thing there that says replayable. It doesn't have a lot of the creepy factors in it that make the game feel haunting, if you will. I do understand that this is early on in Batman's career, before the flood of that island of Gotham. But I'm not saying Arkham Origins is bad, but it doesn't have any replay value. The game never got a re-release when it came to, popularity, sales, things like that. So from there we go on to Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum, I know for a fact, is definitely a bit past 10 years, not so much, but just a bit. Arkham Asylum for the 360 version definitely has replay value. The story still holds up. The story is still wonderful. It's still great. The graphics are still amazing as ever for the 360 version. It still has a creepy factor to it. It does make it feel very much haunting. And it's just, well rounded out because, during that year, you had, what that came out? You had the Christian Bale Batman movies that were definitely coming out. Then also the game is based off Serious House on a Serious Earth novel that I got. And I believe when Arkham Asylum came out, I believe that game was made to hype up, I believe it was The Dark Knight. I believe it was the movie Dark Knight. I could be wrong on that, but I believe so. Now, from there we go on to Arkham City. Arkham City, yeah, man, Arkham City was definitely there. I believe the hype up The Dark Knight Rises. And where Arkham City is in terms of the 360 version. And again, I'm in the middle of playing Arkham City. The graphics are still amazing. The story is still so good, so unique. It's something that had so much put in it. It was done right. There's a lot of balance. The story is wonderful. You have the ideology in the game. And this is something that has always been there within the Batman mythos, is the relationship between Batman and the Joker. And we're going to get to the answer of their relationship. Because this is something that got definitely pointed out in Batman Death in the Family full novel. I mean the full novel. The one where Joker decided to go Texas Chainsaw on everybody and made them think that he cut all their faces off when they all woke up at the table. That right there. Yeah. That novel. But it still has a lot of replay value in it. I replayed Arkham City, before I had a PS4. I replayed Arkham City so much, man, that the replay value is definitely there. You know, not a lot of games, you know, for the 360 version, you know, for 360, just, you know, a lot of games just didn't age well, like we thought it was going to age well. Like, for example, Red Dead Redemption 1, that did not age well at all. You had Saints Row the Third, that did not age well at all. But Arkham City, one of the games that did age well. It really did. The side missions are still replayable. Doing the challenges, the Easter eggs, the trophies are still enjoyable till this day. Now we get on to, you know, Batman Return to Arkham, which were the HD versions, the more enhanced versions, if not the more better versions of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City for the PS4. Now, for Arkham Asylum for the PS4 version, one, it is a much longer game. Why? Because they added in some deleted dialogue, some random dialogue in the game. Things that always caught my suspicions on why some of these villains are the way they are in the game. They added in more lore to it, more secrets, more Easter eggs, if it were. They added in more creepiness to it. They added in things that seemed a bit more haunting. And when I say haunting, to me it feels like there's ghosts in the game, voices, sometimes shadows that you can see. The same thing with Arkham City. Arkham City, and the word I'm looking for is this: the PS4 versions are more superior versions. It came to me, that's the word I'm looking for, superior. So, Arkham City, you have more added dialogue. You got more. They added in some deleted scenes within that game because it added more suspicion and it gave us answers with the game. Again, it added in, you know, a little bit more challenges to do in the PS4 version, and definitely added with the haunting part of the game, because we're such in an older part of Gotham. People died. Because of that is why I say that, yes, if you pay attention and long enough in that game, you're going to hear voices. You're going to hear disembodied voices. You're going to see, looks like shadow people. The game definitely has a haunting factor, you know, to it. So the PS4 versions, for being out for about, 4 years or so, definitely aged well for 4 years, and they have so much, you know, they're replayable. They have a lot of replay value to it that Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are one of the best, if not the best, Batman games. Then we get on to Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight for everyone was not a good game. We waited 6 years, and then 6 years later, which the game now is almost pretty much 7 years old. So it didn't age well for being 7.5 years old. There's no replay value to it. The story is everywhere like bird shit. It wasn't well thought out. I get that Rocksteady wanted to go ahead and do their last Batman game because they wanted to focus on other things. And that really leaves the question to this: were they trying? Because I don't believe they were. I played the game 3 times, and 3 times, I gave it a chance. It's like that old saying, the 3 strike rule. Things usually, come in threes in life. But to me, Arkham Knight just ain't there. And I believe, and I could be wrong with this, but I know for a fact I done about a 4-hour something video. And I put a 4-hour something video together when I was uploading the game about a couple years ago or so, by individual parts, talking about how I would have done the game, how I would have rewritten the game to at least make it okay, if not tolerable. And then I put, that together in a 4-hour video, and I at least got 400 something views and so many comments on the video, with a lot of people agreeing. Now, I'm not sure if I uploaded that video onto this channel, but I will definitely put it in the playlist for you guys with an end screen video. That's way when that end screen video pops up, you click on that video to go ahead and watch, that 4-hour video on how I would have done and rewritten Arkham Knight. I have really nothing but negative things to say about it. The only thing I really got to with the game were a lot of the free skin packs. But after that, that's really about it. I have no real need for it. I'm still going to keep the game, but when I first got it, man, I just got rid of it because I just hated it. Like, I sold it for like $10 at my local game store. They're like, what's wrong with it? Like, nothing wrong with it. I just hate it. I could have got a bit more for it, but I'm like, I just hate it. So I ended up getting it like a year later, a couple months later, because I said to myself, I really need to give this game another try. And I just, after the second playthrough, man, it ain't it. Third playthrough, it ain't it. So Arkham Knight is definitely horrible. I know people are going to want to hear my thoughts on the new Gotham Knights, and I'll get to that. Matter of fact, I'm going to get to that right now, so I don't lose my train of thought. I saw the trailer. OMG, oh my God, look, it looks so damn good. I'm happy that we got another Batman game from Warner Brothers Montreal. I know that there was a tweet sent out saying that this game is not canon or tied into the Arkham universe. I hate when game companies say that, because I call bullshit. With that, I call cap. The reason why I say that, because when game companies say that, guess what? There's always something that they put out that's going to tie in to another one of their series in a video game in some way, shape, or form. It's like Rockstar. Oh, well, our PS2 games aren't connected to the HD graphic games of the GTA series. Oh, that's bull. Man, that is bull. because every game is going to be tied in or connected to each other in some way, shape, or form. And if you take a look, with Grand Theft Auto 5, even all the updates, they have something, always something connecting to the older games. So they're saying that because they don't want to make the obvious seem obvious when they say, "Oh, this one ain't connected to the Arkham universe." Yeah, it is connected. The trailer gave us that. Now I understand that it won't be out till next year, and they can do some tweaks, a bit of changes. But when I say that I believe the game is definitely tied into the Arkham series, it is. There's no doubt about that in my mind, because I guarantee you, we're all in the middle of free roam throughout the game. We're going to hear random dialogue to references to the games of the past with all the Batman Arkham series games. We're going to see Easter eggs. We're going to see little hints and clues. We're going to see that. We're definitely going to be seeing that. Matter of fact, Court of Owls, I believe, been teased from Arkham Origins, Asylum, and City. If not a little bit in Arkham Knight, man. But they were teased and connected in some way, shape, or form within those games. And each time I replay Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, I always find something brand new in the game, man. I always do. So I'm gonna say this: it is connected to me. It's connected because it's too obvious, with the trailer that we got. They talk about an explosion. They talk about finding Bruce Wayne dead. Yes, Alfred is alive, and I'll get to that. Now, what explosion did we see happen in the last game? Wayne Manor. What two people died in the game, or allegedly have died? Well, we know Alfred had a heart attack. That was rough, man. I think we all enjoy Alfred, man. We love our Alfred. Alfred is alive in this game, and I think Bruce made it obvious, like, look, man, I need you alive. They need you when it's time, because they don't need Bruce, because his family became their own, each individual people. That's without a doubt. Fucking big ass hawks and shit everywhere, goddamn. But they became their own people. Bruce, I think, did die in the explosion of Wayne Manor. Now, there could be a good chance that he could still be alive. Yeah, I believe, if they do it right, we could get bit of an older, beat it up Bruce Wayne. Because if you guys remember, and there's two things. I'm about to name the first one. Some of you might be a bit young who've seen this. Some of you might be my age who, in their early 30s, if not their super late 20s. Years ago, there was a Justice League episode, and I think it was Justice League Unlimited episode, I believe, where they went into the future, and you saw younger Batman meet older Bruce Wayne, and what's his name? God, I'm really forgetting that boy's name who became the new Batman from Batman Beyond. But they saw him, and they asked, what happened to the Watchtower in the Justice League? And it's like, these are only survivors. So they went underground. So they could go that route with Batman, because if you take a look from I think a couple years ago when they released, Batman The Dark Knight Returns, part 1 and part 2. In the last one, Bruce Wayne had the manor blew up and everything, and, faked his death in Superman's arms. And of course, we all found out, or at least in the movie, they released it like Bruce Wayne manor blew up. He was Batman, but we'll never know his secrets. He took everything with him. But then, we see that this guy's alive. His body is beaten up. And he's definitely going to be training a new Batman. So, I can really see that route. But there's a good obvious chance that, they're going to pull the trigger and be like, look, yeah, we actually killed Bruce off. Now, Gordon, Commissioner James Gordon, is dead. And it's obviously that with the passing of Batman, GCPD been crooked. It's obviously they've been pointing that out from what? Arkham Origins, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Gotham, or also what? Arkham Knight? Yeah. The past 4 games, they've been pointing that out. Those who watched the animated series like I did growing up, read the comics like I did growing up, GCPD been crooked. They've been crooked. So there's a good chance that there was something that went wrong during an investigation or a robbery, and somebody from the GCPD said, you know what, I'm now going to turn my gun on Commissioner Gordon. Boom. So in other words, they set him up. And I like Commissioner Gordon, man. So Commissioner Gordon, I believe, was set up and murdered, and I think we're definitely going to find that out in this game as time progresses, because I think we're going to, focus a bit on Batgirl and her psyche of that, her point of view. And we'll definitely be getting some answers, on why Commissioner Gordon was murdered. I believe it was somebody from the GCPD set him up and got him killed. That's why Bruce Wayne said you can't trust, the GCPD ever since Commissioner Gordon's death. You can't. This is obvious that it does take place after Arkham Knight. Now, there could be, now I know again a lot of people's like, well, they just said it's not in the same universe. Okay, let's take that into perspective. But let's say in this universe, there were events so similar to things like Arkham Origins. Similar events to things that happen, if not almost similar events to things that happen, like their own version, the things that happen in Arkham Asylum, or even our own version of events like an Arkham City type, and even maybe similar events to the situations with Arkham Knight and in that universe. Let's say they had their own similar things, right? Because everyone's going to want it to tie in. So let's say as we're playing throughout the game and we find out about just random dialogue, find hints, Easter eggs, newspaper clippings, things that are definitely hidden without the game even in plain sight, that they had their own similar, versions of events like that took place in that universe. And let's say that be the case, then it makes sense that yes, Bruce Wayne died, blew up Wayne Manor, just like he did in Arkham Knight. So they're going to have it tie in some way, shape, or form, even if it means putting in their own version of events similar to those that which we played through in this, let's say, alternate universe or Earth 5, right, of events like that. They're going to have it tie in some way, shape, or form with the random dialogue, hints, Easter eggs, clues, things that are just hidden in the game. So, again, they may put it out like, oh, it's not canon to the universe because it takes place in a different universe. Well, it doesn't mean that universe may have had its own, versions of events, at least slightly, if not almost similar to like what an Arkham Origins of their own events, or an Arkham Asylum of their own events, or an Arkham City of their own events, or an Arkham Knight of their own events. So there's going to be some way, shape, or form, I guarantee you, like I said before in the beginning of this video. And I think we're definitely going to get that. I think so. And again, going back, a lot of game companies say that shit, but when I say there's definitely going to be some type of connection that's going to make a canon to it, yes. And I think a lot of people are definitely going to have their own head canon to where it's like, what? This definitely takes place after the last game. I'm glad that there's no Batman in this game. I'm glad we get to play as the people in the Bat family. It's going to be great. We do get to go back to a bit of that comic book style with the bright colors and everything, which is great. Which is super wonderful, especially for fans of the franchise who are going to stick around regardless. So I'm definitely looking forward to Batman Gotham Knights. And I believe it will be a wonderful game. I think certain characters, personally myself, will be in that game to play a major role. There's not a whole lot of people they can choose from Batman's gallery now, but there's a whole lot of characters that they can definitely choose from his rogues gallery. So we know Poison Ivy's dead. We know Joker's dead. We know Two-Face is dead. Yeah, Two-Face got killed in the last game with one of the DLC packs of Red Hood. So who is there really left? I can't remember if we went up against Bane or not. I don't think we did. No. I don't believe we did. So, who's really left in that game universe that can put up a challenge? Well, let's start with the Penguin. The Penguin's like the next big villain anyways. It goes back to the days of the mobster years in Batman. Just like Joker did. So they can give us Penguin as a side character to go up against like usual, rather than being part of the main story. Okay. Maybe Harley Quinn. Figure out what happened to her, where she went off to. If anything, there might be, honestly, that train of thought to where I think she's just out throughout New York City and doing a bit of work for herself by working for what's her name? Commander Waller, Suicide Squad. So we could get definitely some references to Harley Quinn if we don't see her in the game, Figure out where she went, what happened to her. We might see her. Catwoman, I can see Catwoman going full-fledged villain if she wanted to, but she could be an ally to the family in her own way. But if you ask me, I think they probably went the animated route for her story, because after she found out who Batman was, this ain't the first time the two have ever met and hooked up, right? This ain't the first time they found out who each other was. And once she found out who Batman was, she probably said, you know what? I'm gonna do one more last heist, and I think that Bruce left her some money, a good amount of money, and leftover cross seas in Paris, just like what happened in the animated series. You know, she didn't find out who he was, but he let her get away, and I believe maybe off screen he told her, left her and gave her a lot of money, which then would be pocket change, and she went over across seas to Paris. So I can see that. But, there's always that chance that she might pop up in the game and say, you know what? I'm here to look after you all while he's not here. And they're going to be like, how do you know? Trust me, I know who he is. So they're definitely going to have it tying in some way, shape, or form to Arkham Knight in that manner. So I don't think she would be a villain. She would be an ally to the group, man. I really believe so. The next people they could probably have in there. Of course, Mr. Freeze. A lot of people are going to have questions about Mr. Freeze. Why is he alive? Didn't he die? Yes and no. So, Mr. Freeze with the storyline like that can get a bit confusing. So, an animated series, which they had a movie called Sub-Zero back in the day, which I have on VHS. Mr. Freeze found the cure he needed for his wife. She didn't wake up from it till after his death in the movie during the explosion, because he sacrificed himself to say, hey, I can slow it down as much as I can with my cold, but you guys need to get out of here, take my wife, nor her with her. She's going to wake up after all this is over. He did not want his wife a part of that life. When she woke up, and especially watched the news, she cried, she knew, and it was hard for her to move on. But she got to live, right? Well, around so many years later, from what we see in the Batman, the Adventures animated series, which is a continuation of Batman the animated series, by the way. It's not a reboot or a remake like people think, but he comes back, and of course, Batman asks him, how are you still alive? I saw you die. He's like, yes, I died, but my suit kept me safe, which kept my head and my brain alive, but my body has been destroyed. So we see him nothing but a head when he comes out of his freeze suit, which is no more than a robot body. Well, that's how he managed to still be alive. Well, there was another thing that happened in that same episode, I believe, where he just blows up into ice per se, and we don't see Mr. Freeze come back until Batman Beyond, where his head was kept alive by the government because of his his brains. And because of this, they said, you know what, we're going to give him a new body, which they did. They tried to make him human, but because his chemicals was left still in his blood with his head, were so used to the cold and not used to the warm, his body dropped out and decayed fast, so he needed the cold, so he came back to be Mr. Freeze. Once they figured out they just wanted to use him as a weapon. So then he's like, you know what, I'm going to truly sacrifice myself, because this time he actually died when he saw his ex-wife's grave, Nora Freeze, in that episode. So he actually died permanently in Batman Beyond. So Mr. Freeze came back the second way, where he sacrificed himself, Nora lived, and he came back angry because he lived. And there's a good chance he may have found out that Nora maybe passed away soon after due to depression or from suicide, I would imagine. So he came back nothing but a head and now a robot body, and this time angry at life, so he's doing what he can to now permanently kill himself. I can definitely see that going that way with his storyline in the game. So there's that. I think the next one would be Vane, but I'm not sure. That one's a bit tricky to say. I think around this time, like we see in Batman Beyond, all that venom that he was taking destroyed his body and made him crippled. We could see Firefly again. Maybe. Jeez. Scarecrow. He could come back again. Man-Bat. Maybe somebody from the League of Assassins. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know, because there's not a lot left there, so they have only so little, with what they can really, truly work with. And I believe they'll give us something with what they got, who's left, and Batman's Rogues Gallery. I understand this video's long, but it makes sense for it to be. So I'm definitely looking forward to Gotham Knights. And to me, I think it is canon in its own way to the Arkham universe. Even if the universe in this game is totally different from a different Earth, they're still going to have those other games tie into this one in some way, shape, or form, even if it means, this Arkham or this Batman universe from maybe this other Earth maybe had its own similar events to the events that we have played through before in the past. So they're going to find some way to definitely make it canon, like I said, even if it's going to be its own, similar events in that universe. Do I think Justice League, no, I think, what's the name of the other games coming out next, in 2022? Shit, I can't remember, man. Suicide Squad, killed Justice League. Do I think that might be canon because it's coming from Rocksteady to the Arkham universe that we know? Yes, because I believe that it's also going to be tied in, if not take place after Gotham Knights. Because take a look at how bright the city is, take a look how bright the colors are. And because it's coming from Rocksteady, it makes it canon to the Arkham series. And I'm going to say it's definitely going to make it canon to Gotham Knights. Because take a look at Harley Quinn. I believe that's where Harley Quinn went off to do, is to work for Commander Waller with the Suicide Squad. That's why I believe, we may not see her within Gotham Knights. I have to be honest, I believe we may not see her, but we may get references to her. We're probably going to get a lot of hints and Easter eggs and references even to the Suicide Squad. So I do strongly believe that game will come after all the events, which will make sense with why we may not see her in the next Batman game that's going to be coming out, because she's been with the Suicide Squad. So, that definitely makes sense. And then there's a good chance that game, it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, man. I can see that. I can see that with the Night game. I'm looking forward to it. Now, if they put Batman in this game with the Suicide Squad, I don't know. I don't think they will, unless it's... I just gotta be honest, man. I don't see it. Man, I don't see it. The only way I see that happening, if it's part of the DC movie universe. But if it's coming from Rocksteady, there's a good chance that it's going to be canon to the Arkham series after everything, after even Gotham Knights. And we might get a whole different Batman who's not Bruce Wayne, because either Tim Drake or Dick Grayson will probably take up the mantle of Batman. And I believe in Gotham Knights, I believe we're going to see Dick Grayson honestly take up the mantle of Batman, and I believe we're gonna see him suit up as Batman, and I truly believe we're gonna play as him as Batman, and I can see him becoming kind of like an evil possessed version of Batman in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in the game. I can see that, because that's the only way it would make sense to bring Batman to that game. It would make sense to play as him as Batman, even in Gotham Knights when we do get that, and I believe we will, because that's what he eventually does anyways. And with that, you know, there's been other great Batman games throughout the years that I have played, you know, during the days of the saga, like the Batman 1989 game from the Batman movie with Michael Keaton in it, Batman Returns, Batman Forever. Now, the only one I haven't played was the Batman and Robin game based off the movie that came out for the PS1. Eventually, I will get that. I will play it. It does look fun and interesting. And plus, I also played, you know, Batman, Return of the Joker. That is supposed to be part of the movie universe one, but not really. But I have played that. That's pretty fun. That when that came out for the Sega, I played Batman Beyond Return of the Joker game. That's pretty fun. I got that for the PS1. And then I played Batman Vengeance, which is part of the Batman The Venture Continues animated series. And that game came out for the PS2. So some of the ones I pretty much, you know, played before all the newer ones. But do I, and to tie everything back, Batman Arkham City is the most top Batman game, and I think it's going to be around, be everyone's favorite for many years. And even with all the Batman games that have came out over the years, especially the new ones, I think everyone's going to go back to Arkham City. It's going to be everyone's most preferred game. I do. With that being said, man, I'm out. Peace.